What's going on, everybody? This is Ian Gregory Hill with Midday Midweek, the show where we have two fun stories which are never about Trump, followed by a big story which is usually always about Trump. Over 100 unusable tax refund checks went out in Rhode Island that were signed by Mickey Mouse and Walt Disney, which is the first time that Disney has made people so unhappy since Cinderella 2. Now, right away, we know that's fake, because that's not a Disney D. Everybody knows a Disney D looks like a Q, because we were all 15 and a half, and we were wondering in statistics class why it says Quizney, and Tommy Johnson comes over and makes fun of you in front of Jessica LaBiel. Right? We all did that. But that definitely is Mickey Mouse's signature, because I know people who've worked at Disney, and they're friends with Mickey. The Division of Taxation says this was due to a technical error in the automatic printing system, which means Steamboat Willie's got the helm again! The Revenue Department uses the Mickey Mouse and the Walt Disney signatures for testing for voided checks, but they were accidentally printed on real checks. But even though you're testing, use a real Disney D. Quizney. Domino's in New Zealand and Australia have gotten into some hot heat when they offered free pizza to Karens who aren't Karens. If you don't know who Karens are, I don't mean people named Karen, I mean these people.
Oh, you don't chase somebody.
She was just doing her job. But she was.
Who gave you permission to film? Get off the step! I'm calling the police now!
Karen is a popular meme on the internet. They said it was on Instagram, and at the time I'm filming this, it has 1,047 likes and over 700 comments, which if you're close to comments and likes, it's usually not a good thing. Something better to do with your money? I don't know. Go to these links in the description and donate your money to great causes. The Instagram ad says, it's a tough time to be a Karen. Karen the nurse, Karen the teacher, Karen the mom, Karen the neighbor. It's even tougher to be Brianna. This is just a meme. We know people named Karen aren't Karens. You have to prove yourself a Karen, and trust me, we have too many of them walking around. I was going to do a story about TikTok, but then Trump had an interview with Jonathan Swan on Axios and gave me gold perfection. Of course, they started about the coronavirus.
Nobody knew what this thing was all about. This has never happened before. 1917, but it was a totally different, it was a flu in that case, okay? But other than 1917, there's never been anything like this.
What happened in 1917? Oh, you mean the Spanish flu? Also known as the flu of 1918? He was probably thinking about Oscar-nominated and World War I movie 1917, which to his point was a catastrophe. They never let the camera guys have a break.
What testing does, it shows cases. It shows where there may be cases. Other countries test, you know when they test? They test when somebody's sick. That's when they test.
Well, no healthy people are testing positive. I'm a music theater graduate, I can tell you that.
That you get bored of talking about the virus and go back to that sort of
I
cheerleading.
never get bored. I never get bored of talking about this. It's too big a thing. And again,
so will you stick to that message?
It could have been stopped by China. It should have been stopped by China, and it wasn't.
But now it's here.
We have
you're the
it
president.
here. And I think I'm very consistent. No, this is a very serious thing. Do you think we have 140,000 people at this moment? This is a very, very serious. We didn't even have a test. When I took over, we didn't even have a test. Now, in all fairness,
why would you have a test?
There was no test.
The virus didn't exist. How would you have a test?
I was going to say.
Okay.
And, you know, there are those that say, you can test too much. You do know that.
Who says that?
Oh, just read the manuals, read the books.
Manuals?
Read the books.
Manuals?
Read the books.
What books?
What testing does?
I'm sorry.
Wait a minute, John. Let me explain. We're lower than the world.
Lower than the world?
Lower than
what is that?
Europe.
In what?
Look.
In what?
Take a look. Right here. Here's case death.
Oh, you're doing death as a proportion of cases. I'm talking about death as a proportion of population. That's where the US is really bad.
Well,
much worse than South Korea, Germany, etc.
you can't do that. You have
Why
to go.
can't I do that?
You have, here's one right here, United States. You take
Anyway.
the number of cases.
Okay.
Now look, we're last, meaning we're first.
Last, I don't know
We
what
have
we're
the
first
best.
in. As a
Well,
what?
take a look
Okay.
again.
It looks like a third grader did this chart, and he didn't have enough countries to put on it, so he just made the charts really big.
We have cases because of the testing. Wait,
1,000 Americans are dying a day, but I understand on cases it's different.
no, but you're not reporting it correctly, Jonathan.
I think I am, but
If you take a look at this other chart, look, this is our testing, I believe. This is the testing, yeah.
yeah, we do more tests.
No, wait a minute.
It's like Thanksgiving all over again when your grandfather keeps pressing you for how you're going to pay rent with that art degree. They moved on to mail-in voting.
You look at some of the corruption having to do with universal mail-in voting. Absentee voting is okay. You have to apply, you have to go through a process.
You have to apply for mail-in.
Absentee
It's the
voting
same
is
thing.
good. Look,
Look,
they're
let's do
sending
concrete.
out-
Let's do concrete.
Jonathan, they're sending out
Applications.
governors
Download them off the
millions of ballots.
No, they're not.
There
It's
is-
applications. You can get them
There
off the
is
internet.
no way.
All that to say, it is very legal. If you are going to mail in and you haven't done the application yet, please visit this site. Do your application because it is a process and you do need to do it soon.
Your own Justice Department and Homeland Security Inspector Generals.
Excuse me.
But your Inspector Generals are
Excuse
investigating
me.
unconstitutional.
You're trying now to blame law enforcement instead of anarchists.
I'm
instead
not.
of Antifa.
I'm not.
It's Antifa and anarchists that are causing the problems, not law enforcement. Our law enforcement is
Ooh, did little boy make granddaddy upset?
You said you've done so much for African Americans.
I did more for the black community than anybody with the possible exception of Abraham Lincoln, whether you like it or not. People say, oh, that's
You really
interesting."
you believe you did more than Lyndon Johnson, who passed the Civil
I
Rights
think I
Act?
did, yeah.
How?
Because I
How
got criminal
possibly did you
justice
do?
reform done. I got prison reform.
Lyndon Johnson.
I've done things. Well,
He passed the Civil Rights
ask.
Act.
The Civil Rights Act ended segregation in public schools, while prison reform just made prisons better and has nothing to do with race. Making assumptions, are we?
under my administration, African Americans were doing better than they had ever done in the history of this country.
It's not very hard to do.
Next year will be a great year, unless it's screwed up by somebody that doesn't know what he's doing, which could happen, but I don't think it will.
Loosely translated, Trump wants you to vote for Biden 2020.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
That's it for this week, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Again, I'm Ian Gregory Hill. This is Midday Midweek. If you would like to donate or want more information about mail-in voting, please look in the description below. I'll have links there for that. Other than that, please join me next week. I'll see you then. Peace!